Good afternoon, folks. It is Sunday, Bloody Sunday. We have here a chat stream that started early because it's going to be so intense, so insightful. There was no way of containing it. It exploded early. There was a premature broadcast. And here, I am joined by my co host, the sly, the occasional surly, Psycho Sakotume. What is up, my friend?
What? I am up.
Yes.
Hello, Second Street Marvel. Hello.
Trinity! Hold on, let me pull that up. There we go. What up, my man? Went and saw Anthrax last night, baby. I know you saw that picture. I can smell the jelly from SoCal, bro. Finally got to see. I want to get that out of the way first. I got to see fucking Anthrax last night. They were at the first concert I was ever at when I was a teenager, but it was their second singer, well, third singer technically, John Bush. It was like their '90s stuff. Outdoors, daytime, they sounded kind of shitty, but whatever. Never got a chance to see him after that. I always missed it, or like didn't have the money for the show, or couldn't get there, whatever excuses. And yeah, last night I can finally tick off that last band out of the big four of the '80s thrash movement, at least American thrash, was being Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and then Anthrax. But they're actually one of the first music videos I've ever seen. Bring the Noise on Headbangers Ball back in the day, if any of y'all remember that.
Yep.
And they were kind of my gateway because that's when I started getting into music back then. Because Headbangers Ball, for those who remember, all the great bands you see come through there. Anthrax, Suicidal Tendencies, Sepultura, Metallica, White Zombie, Tool. Oh God, I miss those days. But yeah, and also the one thing that I've really been drawn to about that band is that they bring so much influence to their music. It isn't all about just slaying dragons and Satan and all that stuff. Like I Am the Law is about Judge Dredd, the comic. This is way before the Stallone movie. Among the Living is about Randall Flagg from The Stand. They take influence from literature, movies, comics, all that shit. And yeah, it's something I always want to kind of do. Trinity had Bush back in 03. And man, he rocked it to me. He was looking a little older, but God, man, he has to be like 60. But he was belting like, it was still the 80s. But it was a good show. I used to mosh a lot, obviously, when I was younger. I kind of stopped doing it years ago. But last night, I was called back into it. I got caught in the mosh. I lasted about 3/4 of the song before getting knocked across the back onto my face by this giant lumberjack. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not 18 anymore. I can't just jump back up and, try fighting the guy. I crawled out of there, got some water, and enjoyed the rest of the show. But it was good times. And also Black Label Society and Exodus was there, but that's just another rant by itself. So, yeah, because I mentioned that because that's my guy Trinity there's favorite band. He actually has the pentagram tattoo. Shout out. But, yeah, that was my night, and I am broken down and feeling old today. And I need some caffeine in me.
Comes back and
Sorry.
How about you? It's all good. Did you do any moshing last night?
I did not do any moshing.
Oh.
It was more witchy stuff.
Yeah?
I am doing like the witchy things.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Currently, I am transferring all of my information on servitors over to my new Book of Mirrors. Because it's nice.
I was going to say, for anyone who doesn't know you, all that, other maybe just being a horror writer, would you like to explain that facet of yourself to the audience?
Hopefully you took earplugs. Oh yeah, you need earplugs to go to shows.
I didn't,
yeah.
And I was right. I was 2 heads behind the stage. I got right up there, crushed like a tube of toothpaste. But it was cool. I got close enough to get flipped off by Joey, but my ears, it wasn't that loud. I don't know if they have like some kind of decibel parameters in place, but like the last several concerts I've been to, I've been right up there. and it wasn't like ear splitting, like going to see Pantera back in 2000, 2001, when it's like it shook your fucking cells every time Dime hit a chord. But well, they're all wearing earplugs up there. But at the same time, you know, they were in the 80s, you know, thrashing out before that even was a thing. So they probably don't have much hearing left anyway. I know James Hetfield from Metallica is basically deaf.
Yep.
But yeah, like, if you want to, you know, talk about, you know, your witch side for anyone who doesn't know out there.
I am a chaos. I am a chaos magician. Ran out of drink.
You must not run out of the drink.
I ran out of the drink.
And chaos magician.
So what that means, chaos magician. So you know Alan Moore's spiritual practice, Grant Morrison's spiritual practice. They are chaos magicians.
Well, no, I meant I know what it is, but like people out there, like, what's the difference between traditional or non-chaotic and chaotic magic?
Okay, so chaos magic has science backing, whereas traditional Wicca, like, is a lot more rigid and regimented and cult-like. Is that the word I'm looking for? Yeah, I think it's cult-like. I like chaos magic. I like chaos magic because you can study any branch of magic you want. You can study all of them in your own paradigm, and that is encouraged.
See, I can get down with that because that's how I am, just as an individual, just taking influence from everything. I don't want to stick to one fucking, you know, model, not one design. I've never been like that.
I like that I just sold you on chaos magic. Like,
well, no. I know
like,
about
I'll
it.
sign up.
I know. I'm not gonna say I'm like educated on chaos magic, but you know, obviously through Grant Morrison, Alan Moore, that's where I learned about it the first time. But pretty much what I know about it is what you said. Like, you can borrow from other aspects of the occult, and I also know that it's really heavily sigil based.
Yes, there are. Sigil work is like one of the most common ways in chaos magic to magic happen. I can talk about the 6 principles of chaos magic.
I for a while I was diddling around there trying to make a sigil. What is it like? You write out your desire, then you cross out the vowels and the repeating consonants, and then you take what's left and just try to make something weird out of it.
Yes, that is a typical way of making a and making a sigil, and you don't have to use English. Like, you can use whatever alphabet you want. You can use a mixture of alphabets to make your image. Like, it's open to interpretation.
So, let's say I write out a sentence like, "I will not get shot today," and I do each word in a different language. You know,
sure.
Do each word in a different language, and do the same, thing, and just mix those together. It'll achieve the same goal, or it'll be the same. It'll be part of the. Never mind. All right, cool.
The cool thing about chaos magic is that if it doesn't work out, there isn't like horrible like side effects of it not happening.
Whereas
Wiccans tend to believe that there is only one way to do something, and if you screw it up, then you get 3-fold law or 10-fold law.
Isn't it like,
I can't relate to that.
The spell or the hex or whatever, you put this energy out, and one or another is going to come back to you. So if you botch it, not only is it going to come back to you shittily, but it's going to come back to you with that kind of mutation to it.
That is how the Wiccans look at it, yes.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, get ready to handle the fallout, but if there is fallout to happen, for sure.
But isn't that like if
Yeah.
you just, if you go veer towards more the left hand path? Because I know on the other side, where like the light work, or it's more of just like just adding to the universe instead of personal gain.
You can be a white witch and still do intentions that are personal gain.
Right. See, like
I am considered a gray witch by that nomenclature. You know what I'm trying to say. So I am generally doing it to heal people and give them abundance and comfort and ease their stresses. And then I am also prepared to fuck someone's life up.
right now, would you say it's a good idea to at least learn how to fuck someone's life up, just in case you need to do it to somebody who's putting bad vibes on you?
So it's not just bad vibes. I had an instance where a dear friend, was sitting terrified with a gun in her office, and she's texting me, and she says that she found out that her roommate was a race addicted, and they had been living together for the past year. So she got scared, and I didn't want her to be scared or feel like she was in danger. So I did a quick spell, a quick bottle spell to A, bind him, B, prevent him. Well, binding basically means preventing him from harming others or harming himself. And then B, what else did I? I'm sorry, I am intoxicated, and therefore thinking in a straight line is very difficult.
Straight lines are boring. Fuck those. I'm glad that at least the craft wasn't bullshit and that was an actual spell.
Yes,
I bind you, Nancy.
her. That is a real spell, by the way.
That was a good movie. I haven't watched that in a long time. I wonder if it still holds up.
I think it does.
Would you say that it inspired you to go down towards that path, or were you already there by the time it came out?
I was already there, but it also kind of put it in perspective to me that my high priestess at the time was toxic. Kind of
was it Nancy?
Made me look at my. It wasn't Nancy, but she was doing it to get back at the coven that kicked her out. So I was like, I don't want to be part of that coven.
Why did they kick her out? Why did
they
they kick
her out?
Yep.
We left her.
Oh, and I thought you said her previous coven kicked her out and she was trying to get even or something.
Yes, like they did. I don't know why. I don't know how that happened.
Well, the horror writer in me just thinks of the best case scenarios in that situation. That's the fifth child this week.
What do you have exactly? What do you have to do to get kicked out of a coven?
I don't know. You would know more than I.
I don't know how. I haven't worked in a coven since high school, and I mean freshman year of high school.
Yeah, I dated a witch. back in high school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I hope she didn't try that fucking mind control shit on you.
Oh no. But I was 16. I was a knucklehead, running the streets, being an asshole, and I didn't treat her like shit, but I didn't appreciate her. I was just too busy in my own selfish world, and we ended up breaking up. A couple weeks later, I get hit by a car. I'm not saying there was a correlation there, but it's possible.
There is totally a correlation there.
Only thing I have to show for it is scar across the corner of my eye and a hospital bill that the driver paid for. So whatever.
Holy shit!
Now I just have more character to my look.
Off a witch. Jump is off a witch. Yeah.
It's not like I was mean to her. I just ghosted her.
That is like mean by omission.
There we go. I was 16. No
If that
excuses,
makes
but still.
sense. No excuses. You were 16. You were young, dumb, and full of cum. Like,
Yes.
simple as that. Hi, Mama Ward.
Mama Ward. We actually end up reconnecting years later and talking, and we were cool and everything. I did mention
Nice.
that. We were talking on the phone, and I
Which
did mention
means
getting hit
she
by a
let
car.
go of her anger. Let her anger, and her letting go of her anger resulted in you getting hit by a car.
Well, like I
So
said, no permanent injury.
She probably didn't think second thought about you and what you had done in your own world.
Well, maybe, unless she didn't say anything. But I did
No, of
mention
course
me getting hit by a car, and we were on the phone talking. I thought I could hear a little smirk in her voice. Like, oh, that really sucks.
Oh, that sucks. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Like, are you okay? It's got a little scar in the corner of my eye. Oh, okay. So, anyways.
Yeah, that was definitely her.
And I knew it too. I'm on the phone. I'm just staring straight ahead, like, jerk.
Yep.
Oh well.
Okay.
Well, that's when I learned a lesson.
That is a lesson to be learned. Holy crap.
At least it didn't take 2 cars or a van. But what? Oh yeah, high school. It seemed. Do you think like that was like just an adult? Like, of course it's a real thing, but like, do you think like people are attracted in their adolescence just out of like rebellion or something like that? For being from like this kind of environment.
Not just that, but puberty is about the time when the avatar awakens, as it were. You can now put speedball on your resume.
Har, har, har. You know what? I was cool with a couple. It was actually right outside my high school too. I was leaving that day. School was over. I was crossing the street, reaching my pocket to grab a pack of cigarettes because I smoked back then. I wasn't looking. The driver wasn't looking. Kablam! But I think it was a football coach. He called me a speed bump after that.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, you made me laugh anyway.
Well, all the shit I talk, I gotta at least laugh at myself.
Yeah.
Edge out ego somewhere.
You gotta laugh at yourself. Yeah, that is wise.
Because some can't, or they won't. Now, with the occult, like I said, I know some of it. I just never gone in depth about it. I don't know if it's just out of reluctance or laziness, or just maybe because it's so fucking esoteric and complicated. At least you don't know where to start. It's like trying to.
There is a ton of content, like tons and tons and tons of content across all cultures, across all timelines. So you can get overwhelmed really easily.
I think that's what a lot of it was. And also, like, you'll see a facet of it you don't like and just, like, pretty much blanket the rest of it.
Altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened with the aforementioned ex, because I remember her and her friend took me to this one shop all the time. I mean, there were cool as books, but nothing I was interested in reading. So I would just walk around bored out of my mind, looking at all the cool like stuff hanging around, like the memorabilia that was either real or not.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for a while. That kind of gave me an impression of it. It's really bookish, real quiet and. Just...
I use the scientific method when it comes to my witchcraft. So I mean, like, that's why I have these books of mirrors, like, which is basically like a book of shadows, but it's got more field notes in it. So I'm particularly good at recording content, like figuring out my paradigm, figuring out what works and what doesn't, and writing all that shit down. So eventually I would like to actually release a book. Kind of like the Magpie Training by Irene Glass. It basically acts like a course, and this is the textbook that goes with the course. So
Nice.
I kind of want to do something similar.
Now, for anyone out there that just has interest in the occult but not sure which direction they want to go in, just to get like a rudimentary feel of it, what would you suggest reading or looking at first?
You know what? What I did is I got the Encyclopedia of Occultism and the Big Blue Book at the same time. So I got to figure out all the stuff that Wins looked at, what occultists looked at, and figure out what was bullshit to me and what resonated with me.
Yep, that sounds like the right
That
choice.
was my youth. That was my youth. That was basically once I got out of the whole Wiccan thing, I started studying on my own. And with the internet and these books from like the early 90s, like did a pretty good job.
Would you recommend learning about the Tree of Life before going off into any of those directions?
I think the Tree of Life is a map for astral projection. So if you want to get into hedge writing or astral projection or anything like that, think of the Tree of Life. I do.
You say hedge writing?
Hedge writing, yeah. So when you see pictures of witches on brooms and shit,
Yes.
So that is hinting at when they used to put hedge writing salve on their brooms and why? And it puts them in gnosis, in which case they can do witchcraft very easily.
Nice.
So it would make you hallucinate, right? And when you're hallucinating, you're just seeing into other dimensions. So, like, what's the word? Sorry, what were you saying?
You were saying.
I was, but I don't remember.
Well, pretty much where I
like
start. I'm kind of starting off with.
You're
right.
starting off?
Well, I got the Kabbalah and learning about the Tree of Life, and just from there, I know, like, I was looking into magicians, but like you were saying, they're very fucking seem straight down the line mathematicians, stuff that my brain is always broken over. I'm definitely a right hemisphere person.
What? I thought that of chaos magic first, but the more I do it, the less I think that.
So you don't have to like 100% understand all the mechanics of it to be able to
Right.
practice it.
However, if you wanna, there are books I can recommend that you can check out that sum it up really well. And I can recommend books that talk about tree of life as it is applicable to hedge writing, as it is applicable to daily life, as it is applicable to dreams and all kinds of stuff.
I am interested in that salve that makes you trip balls, though. I think for me, I can learn things, so I'm like 100% focused on it and interested in it. Yeah, I'll dive right into it. But unless it does that, it's pulling teeth, trying to drag me through that.
That is a good sign. That way you are figuring out what resonates with you and what doesn't. So your paradigm would be very, I think your paradigm would be very specific to you. I don't see you like going to a pre-existing like tenant, like, you know, list of rules to go by or anything like that. I think you would write your own rules.
Me?
Yeah, you.
I never break the rules. I follow a straight and narrow path throughout my entire life, never once deviating, no transgressions to speak of. I don't know what you're talking about, Taco.
I think you are already on your own path, and that there is no one set of rules of a school of magic. You know, like every school has its own paradigm, and I think you would take little bits from each study and figure out what you were interested in and figure out what was fascinating to you. And yeah, I think you, if you were to dabble in magic, that is probably how you do it.
Paz. I'm on the demon path of hell, Sako. Through the 6 realms and the 4 lives. Leaving a trail of blood and carnage in my wake. But if that fits into chaos magic, then awesome.
Does. I would study Kali from the Hindu religion.
You mean the apocalypse god? Isn't
like she is like death and life and destruction and regrowth, and there's a lot of stuff about her. But if your life is basically on a path to hell, leaving destruction in her wake, I recommend Kali.
And I'll try not to think of Temple of Doom while I'm reading.
Kali.
Shotire. You know, I used to kind of laugh that one off because I consider Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade to be more like superior movies altogether. I watched it a few years ago, and it is a fucking dark movie. Like, seriously. I didn't even catch that before. Like, as a kid, it almost seemed fun. Or maybe just that was, you know, the 80s mentality. All that dark evil shit seemed like fun. Like, you know, Return to Oz or some shit like that.
Yeah, so I just found a really great...
But speaking of India, like, a friend of mine recommended a book with Indian magic in it. I haven't looked into it yet, though. I do have one on Norse magic, though.
Nice. So, have you studied Loki at all?
Only what I've read, you know, in the parts of the Edda, including him tying his nads to a goat.
Yeah.
I mean, did he do that to save his life? Because I know he would like just go to extremes to do that.
I don't know why he made the choices he did. He's not a good that I work with.
Well, I know he turned into a horse and impregnated the other one to like save himself somehow. I forget how.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, with the Edda, there were definitely a few contradicting stories with, Fenrir's tale, where it was like it was either him or like a different wolf, and they kept like mentioning it different ones. But at the same time, I can't imagine people of that time in that region being sober and coherent a lot of the time. They got it mixed up somehow. But
more into, paying attention to the shit around them.
right. But then there was this wolf deity in the Celtic mythology that bared some resemblance to Fenrir. I kept meaning to like research him more, but then time, focus.
So I am of a mind that exploring the rules that exist in your culture specifically is a good starting point, and figuring out what in that paradigm you like and resonate with you.
Well, I hate using the word mud. I'm multi, I guess that's ethnic.
Cultural.
Yes. So, do I
So
want to
am
look
I.
in the do I want to look in the north side? Do I want to look at the Celtic side, the Germanic side? Do I want to look in the Cherokee side? There's a lot of stuff there.
There is a lot of stuff. So
And India too.
Mm-hmm. Indian gods are really easy to work with. Like, they are happy that someone is working with them and will work towards your goals.
Can I still eat beef? Or are they going to get pissed at me? I said, can I still eat beef, or will they get pissed at me?
Silly beef?
No, eat beef. I always connect, like
you can eat beef. Yeah. That's, in fact, you can use it as an offering towards like Odin or his dogs, or
no, I meant India, like the Indian gods.
No, I get it. I'm just saying you can work with both Indian gods, and because there's nothing in any of the gods that I studied that says anything about like not being able to eat beef.
Wow. And I'm guessing they don't care if you worship any other gods or offer to any other gods.
Ganesh and Saraswati both are just happy that I called on them at all.
Cool.
Kali seems too busy for me, but like when I do ask for my help, something from her kind of like represents her
liaison.
Her stuff. Yeah, like a liaison.
Nice. But you wouldn't do that, and all of a sudden, here comes like Odin or something. Like, oh, was Ganesh too busy for you, asshole? Fuck you, lightning bolt.
I don't work with Norse gods very often. I think Brigid is the only Norse goddess that I even look in her direction.
I like Brigid. Was it the god of hearth, fire, and home, or whatever?
Yep, among other things.
The Forge. Yeah, she's awesome. I was researching her a little bit for a fan fiction story I wrote, and while going into this World War I story, and just like how it kind of represents the birth of modern civilization, and like not in a bad way, good way, kind of just like death, regrowth, like how we were talking about earlier with Kali. So maybe I'll try to incorporate some of that in there, because that's a lot of what my story represents. Just like the ending of life, destruction, rebirth. We live again, but different.
So the Wiccan idea, that the Wiccan paradigm basically thinks that Hades and Persephone have like their relationship kind of like the cycle of their relationship over and over and over again.
And how it's tied to Demeter with, the seasons.
With Demeter, yeah. So spring and summer is when Persephone is out and about. And then winter and fall are when she goes back to hell.
Have you read the Percy Jackson books?
No.
I think it's the first book. This scene had me laughing my ass off when Percy and the gang get down to Hades to talk to him. Well, Demeter's down there with, in the throne room berating Persephone in front of Hades. Like, you could have married the god of doctors, the god of lawyers, but no, you settle for this bum who hangs out with dead people. Just rant. It was hilarious shit. It's like, yeah, I'm about to go back up. Spring starting. In high school, I was really big into like Greek mythology. It was like because growing up with like the Christian doctrine, that was like my introduction to something different, other than what I've seen in the movies.
My roomie is starting to work a little bit with Hades. I have not worked with him, so I don't really know much about Hades.
Well, I think he got the raw end of the deal with that big, Titan uprising. But
yes, that is true.
If I were to ever, try to talk to any of those deities, well, as a writer, I'm going automatically to Hermes, the messenger,
Sure.
communication.
Sure.
Which, even for something like this, you can do.
That's very ritualistic. There is a branch of magic that like loves Hermes, and his name is escaping me. The bird in Egyptian equivalent, not Ra, but it's making me nuts. Thoth.
Oh, the god of the moon, Thoth, the messenger.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you wonder if Lovecraft used that deliberately, because there's a lot of Thoth in his stuff. Yawzathoth, Azathoth.
You know what's really funny? So I have this Native American friend who is in his 60s, maybe 70s, and he's been practicing spiritualism longer than I've been alive. And he was talking to me about Kali, saying that she was a favorite deity. And I was like, hey, I was just talking about her. But he's like I said, my higher dimensional self is connected.
Now,
so I think that's interesting.
With that stuff,
mm-hmm.
Is there any belief in any kind of like afterlife, like a heaven or hell, in the way we kind of imagine it?
I have my own afterlife. I don't think there is a specific. I mean, there are some that believe in Anubis. There are some that believe in Hades. There are some that. Who else? Gardnerian stuff, right?
Well, if it's all about balance, the yin yang. So if there's light, there's got to be darkness. So if there's good things, there's got to be bad things out there. Maybe worse we imagine, just like right outside the seams of our reality, kind of like what Lovecraft is talking about, like
mm-hmm.
the anti-gods, like Prince of Darkness. Have you ever seen that John Carpenter movie? So like, you know, the devil was more of like the son of the anti-god. It's like basically like, you know, God's counterpart on the other side is negative. So is anything like that?
You can. I like that's basically what I do. I come at it from a very Buddhist sort of philosophy. So, and I'm third generation Buddhist, so like Christianity is completely lost on me. I grew up doing it. So, like, there's a point.
Well, I'm not exactly talking about, you know, Christianity per se, but like just the good and evil part.
I don't think that there is. That's like saying nature or chaos or love are all like good or evil, right? So they are concepts where they just are.
Well, that's what I mean. We all have darkness inside of us, and you kind of have to embrace it. Don't shove it away. I mean, and definitely don't try to like feed it and make it bigger. But it's there for a reason. So like the source of that, because you know we have our good energy and bad energy, and it's like, what is it? Just the bad energy a byproduct of misuse energy, or does it come from something else, from that other side, from the
It can, which is why spells like banishment and cleansing and protection exist.
right? Because I just believe I'm the kind of person, almost an omnitheist. Like it could all be true, and in the chaos, why can't hell exist?
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't mean I want it to. Doesn't mean I think it should exist. But maybe it's just somebody over.
Hell, and because I think Christians have a very interesting mythology, but I don't subscribe to any of it, other than Samael being a angel.
Right. Well, if you think about it, Christianity just takes from other beliefs. So it's basically the first chaos magician that's just took it in a different direction. And what really stringent in the irony.
It made a paradigm. And that's the big question, right? Is chaos magic outlaws paradigm. However, they have their own paradigm. In trying not to have a paradigm, they made one.
Well, it's a chaos theory. You know, there is order in the chaos, no matter what. You'll find a structure there. At least, you know, useful chaos.
Useful chaos is an interesting concept. Not all. I think. I wish I could go get my book. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this.
Well, I don't mean like, you know, go GTA on, you know, the city blocks or anything, but like not even like when it comes to people, just controlled chaos in the settings, like even like working on something. Like I know that there are controlled fires down in like the more rural areas because it just starts weeding out and becoming a hazard, not just for people, but for the wildlife. It starts choking, like the weeds grow and start choking out all the other life, and they do controlled burnings. I guess I'm trying to, you know, attach that to that in a half-assed stony way. So like, you know, a controlled chaos for the better. Maybe. I don't know.
I guess you can think of it that way, but I don't think of chaos magicians as being chaotic. They are eclectic. They are, you know, like they dabble in and stir fun, but
do you think it's possible to like overload yourself with doing, you know, being so flexible with the energy you take, the energy you give, and like however fashion it's molded to whatever deity, whatever practice? You don't think that can like fry out a person, or do you think you should like
not just fry out, but like gods and spirits and stuff like that. I mean, when you do a lot of witchcraft, it attracts a lot of attention from all kinds of deities, all kinds of entities.
So if a person is like kind of sensitive to that stuff on a psychic level, maybe, or on an energy level, do you think it's a good idea for them to enter that world? Do you think it might cause more problems?
I think they are the kind of people that will try all the stuff and figure out what works and what doesn't. So they work through trial and error. They don't need a big blue book, because
But-
they'll just experience the bad juju from watching a spell if they screwed up a spell.
Okay. So just like anything in life, there's risk.
Yes.
But what about for the wusses out there that just want to avoid risk and just, be in part of the scene and spread lights?
I think they're posers. Like Sylvia Brown, who talks to ghosts and shit.
I know that name.
Mm-hmm. She has a lot of books out. She kind of like made a little cult that revolved around. Oh my god, meow! She made like a little cult that I keep losing my train of thought. It's getting really frustrating.
Take your time. It's just me and you. I think someone's here, maybe. There's 2 people watching.
Oh, okay.
It's all right. It's just the 3 of us watching you. Or you can look at me. I don't care what you guys do. It's your eyes. I don't own them.
And Wednesday is Imbolc.
Cool. What's in bulk?
Imbolc is a holiday that is Bridget's holiday. Actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm. She like dancing around with her is a great thing to do over Imbolc. Is the hold on. I need to take this call.
Uh-oh. Well, I shall talk to you 2 out there, whoever you may be, if there's anybody out there. We are talking about the occult. Things I'm sort of familiar with in different aspects of it, because it's like anything else. It's very sophisticated. You don't know where to start. It's overwhelming. I would compare it to even being more overwhelming than trying to get into anime for the first time or gaming for the first time if you don't know where to look, if you don't know you're in. Because everything has to get it in there when it's something that vast. Like with anime people, yeah, you got to find that one show, that one movie, and you're good. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at the whole thing like a giant, wide mess of tentacle monstrosity. There we go. So, yeah, I would go off what she says and, just try to find your own way. And, yeah, if you're going to practice, make sure you do it correctly. Don't botch it. You don't want to piss off a bunch of gods and, get a bunch of bad juju in your life. Because we don't need any more bad juju. But otherwise, just try to do your own thing. Don't learn from people around you. Don't try to copy them too much, because it doesn't mean it works for them. Doesn't mean it's going to work for you. But yeah, I'm trying to get used to talking by myself on my own stream, and this is a good practice for it. Would you guys like to hear a song? I can do anything from Seal to death metal. Yeah, right. But I am considering doing this karaoke thing one day, possibly with fellow author Tubert Barrett and Margaret Bernard. It seems like some fun. But I don't think I could do that sober. And I really don't want to get drunk on a stream. Or maybe I do. No, we'll see. I guess it's a good time to mention that I am releasing a story in the next couple of days, a novella called Skin Auction. I'm getting it all together, ready to shove it on Kindle, get that going. I still need to work on a blurb, though. I hate writing blurbs. I suck at it. And as a writer, I'm disappointed in myself for sucking at it. I can write the whole damn story, but I can't sum it up in a paragraph. Yes, the true ironies that live through our life. No, that's real horror right there. The ones that have the ironies in them. But I'll figure it out. Or I'll just pull something out of my ass and slap it on there. Hey.
Hi.
I was talking to nobody.
Cool.
Did you hear any of it?
No.
So I got everything I need for my novella, and I'm about to put it on, submit it, and just do it right away because I want to get it done before January's over. But I can't think of a fucking blurb to save my life.
Oh,
My editor said he's going to help me, but like I can write the whole damn story, but I can't sum it up in a paragraph.
Yeah, you got to sum it up in a paragraph. What I do is I talk about the inciting incident, and then I do a will they succeed or won't they?
Well,
and that is usually my blurb.
For me, it's bad, more bad, worse. Read it. That's basically
right.
That's basically the only way to sum up my story.
So you will right. So I had to do that for my Shadow of the Fae, which is horror. It's like bad stuff over and over and over and over again, up until the climax, basically. So I basically had to write the inciting incident, no names, and because you can kind of like plug in the name after you've written the blurb. But I do the inciting incident, and then sometimes I'll do the first two, depending on how big the middle point is. I'll do the first two plot points, and then I'll basically set the stage for the climax.
Methinks this is the way the kind of story pans out. Her name's Jen Baker, 15 years old. She gets abducted outside a concert, not knowing why, thinking maybe they're trying to get some money, not denying what she, fears the most. Only find out that's what it is. She's being auctioned off. Oh my God, who are they selling me to? They sell her off, and that's when it turns into a horror story.
Right. But will she be murdered, or will she survive and thrive, or will she,
or watch she descends into this dark story?
Interesting. When I read the Book of Mormon, I found several similarities to the Quran. Yeah. Yep.
The Quran. I have a small little pocketbook version of that. A friend of mine gave it to me.
Don't say you suck at things.
Well, it's fine. I did.
Huh.
I was talking about writing a blurb. Well, I'm not like saying it shutting myself down as in like I need to get better at it. I'm just telling myself I need to suck less at it. So I'm not like, no, I suck. I'll figure it out.
Right. So like you said the inciting incident and the repercussions thereof. Now you present the new problem. That is the horror story. What is the new problem, and will she solve it? If you're writing the blurb for another writer, or you're writing it for a publisher or something like that, you would tell the actual ending. But if you are just writing the book copy, the back of the book copy, then you don't answer that question.
Well, that's what
You let the
I'm not going to mention, I guess I'm not going to spoil it in the blurb, like the horror part. I'm gonna leave that a big question mark. Like, no, you got to read that shit. Yeah.
But you have to do the problem and the answer game when you're writing a blurb.
And I've kind of been leading with the whole, this is the only warning you're ever going to get from me as a horror writer, because it's a rough story. I meant it to be so.
Because you're self-publishing, I would advise actually putting a trigger warning in your copy, in your that cover.
Well, the ultimate goal is to have my name itself be the trigger warning. Kind of like the old days, going through the books selection, you see like Stephen King or Clive Barker on the covers. Like, no matter what it is, just seeing the name on there on that cover, you already know something's fucked up behind there. There's a horrible story waiting to be read. And like, even before I was into reading, I'd see that name, like Stephen King, and I'm like, oh shit, another horrible story. And then later on, I get into reading terms to find out that, yeah, that was a pretty messed up story, like Gerald's Game. But I think, where was I going with this? Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. Like, I want to get to a point where people just know to expect something fucked up from me. Basically, that's why I say when my name is trigger, like, perusing the S section in the library, and then all of a sudden they get to the Scott. It's like, oh no, he's back. What has he done now?
I would also like to be immediately recognized. I am always flattered when someone looks at some art and says, hey, that looks like Sako. But, like, hi, Silvar.
It's a big guy right there. My muds. But I guess I want it from a different reason. Like, people say my name, like, oh, fuck. There's something horrible behind that cover. Do I want to read it? Yes.
Well, I like being pretty enough from afar that, people think I'm approachable. But then when they have them, I have to by the code, and yeah.
I'm that shadow of can't even speak. I am that shadowy figure in the fog when you hear that lone bell tolling. That's basically how I set up my author brand. But that's another thing. I mean, just because I'm writing horror now doesn't mean I'll do it later. But at the same time, I think I'll always have some kind of like dark edge to my story, even if I were to like going hard-nosed detective territory.
If you change genres, make a new pen name or something, because you don't want to mess with your audience.
Well, at some point they're gonna have to learn to trust me. I'm not gonna like go veer off the broken. If I were to like go write romance stories, then yeah, sure. I seriously doubt I'll ever do that. But I know what you mean. But I might jump a little bit on some genres on a certain book, and I'm gonna be straightforward with it. Like, this might be a little different from what you've seen, but you might like it. Just give it a try. I'm not gonna force it on. I'm like, you just better like it because it's me and you're one of my readers, like some people are. Ooh, Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's with soup and waffle fries. By Chick-fil-A, boo.
They're too expensive. Not to mention, I have Fry the Coop. That's like 3 blocks away from the Chick-fil-A, and it's like a million times better. And I know the owner. He's a cool dude. The
thing about Chick-fil-A is they funnel money into the kinds of laws in Africa to make being gay illegal and punishable by death.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking horrific. But at the same time, all these smartphones we have cobalt in them, and if you look at all the horrible things in the Congo with cobalt mines and the way they enslave children and the younger people to dig all this shit out, and they just pretty much like grind them or sell them off.
Okay.
I guess like when it comes to like everything, but at the same time, yeah, fuck Chick-fil-A. But if you look at like all the things we use and just the horrible ways they're brought to us, or with the horrible things they fund, we'd almost just be growing and making our own stuff. That's why I stopped looking at that kind of stuff, because yeah, it's depressing.
I just want to know, like, what's evil, and I'll stay away from it.
I want to know what motivates that evil. What was the,
Sure, I would love
branding?
to know what motivates evil.
Well, for the most part, some shit like that. You're just repeating cycles throughout, what was passed down to you, and ignorance, all that shit. At the same time,
There is a difference. There is a difference between never mind.
well, what it is, at its core, people breaking away from what is considered normal, and people not liking that. What is considered normal?
It's not liking, because there are people like me who really enjoy horror, and like I handle it better than most.
Yeah. But when it comes to like, when it comes to like it's kind of hard to say with the stuff in Africa. I think it's just what's bred into you, not bred into you, taught to you through the generations, through past stupidities, and not being stuck in a rigid path. And some people don't want to break free from that shit, and they'd rather just like let it go because it's away from the normal. Even that way of thinking, like, because that's what the whole thing comes down to, is like what's a break from the conventional and the hatred towards it. Does that make any sense? Like whether it's changing laws, changing thoughts, ideologies, or even like something outside of what's considered normal sexual orientation. It's all coming from just a hatred towards something different, doing something different, thinking something different. Make sense?
Yeah, and Mama Ward, pretty much summed up what I was thinking. Do the one before.
Yeah. Well, capitalism at its core is just the private ownership of goods and services and the voluntary exchange of those goods and services. But you see what happens in some things, especially when like a company gets so damn big and they can have government backing. So if they have this fail safe. If they crumble, they're helped out, while the rest of us have to deal with the aftermath.
I think we deal with fascism in like nothing is more American than fascism.
Yeah, the media. That's why, like, when it comes to like mainstream, I haven't watched regular news in years. Like even the people that I follow that are like influencers, I just ignore it because I can't control any of it. I don't care. I'd rather just deal with my own life, my own thoughts, my own problems. And people today just get their energy hung up on all this stuff, and they're just fucking miserable every day.
It's not just that.
I have not.
I have not. Is it based on The Tower?
The Man in the High Castle. But it makes me think of a story that should be called The High Man in the Castle.
Waka waka.
I've actually never been in a castle. How about you? Like a legit castle?
I have been in German castles and I have been in Irish castles.
Where at?
I was staying in castles in South Ireland for a honeymoon. Like they had been converted into resorts, basically, which was like super rad.
I'm trying to imagine a resort in Ireland. Is it like a regular resort? I'm just
Castle.
That is fucking awesome. Was there a lot of drinking?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It is less drinking over longer time. So for the whole stereotype of Irish folks being drunk off their asses, maybe in the middle of the night because they've been drinking all day.
I was going to say they maintain that light buzz, that that slow moving clip throughout the day, and maybe at the end of the night you slam it down.
The average bear does. I think the average Irishman, like lunch, there'll be 1 or 2 pints there. Dinner, there will be 1 or 2 pints there, and then God forbid you switch to whiskey or continue drinking beer.
And if you're wise, you meat and potatoes on top of it. I had the problem of not eating when I would be among my Irish friends, and I would keep going, and like they'd go eat, and I'm like, I'll keep drinking. And that was me. Like, food was a waste of space, and it would sober me up. Nobody needs that. That's a horrible thought. Keep going, and especially you ever have those days you wake up, keep drinking?
Hair of the dog is
Yes.
what we call it. Hair of the dog that bit you.
I did that a lot throughout my 20s.
I did not.
And it made me entirely useless throughout the whole day, but hey, I didn't have a hangover. Eventually I did, like days later, barely eating, and I'm going through detox. Still trying to go to work, like, all right, let me get this fucking thing unloaded. So, a Castle in Ireland. Where else?
My first memory at a castle in Germany, in southern Germany, that my parents were at an SEA event that was being held in a castle, and there came this Ukrainian man with a trained bear, like a black bear on a leash. And he came up to my parents and was like, oh my God, your daughter is so cute, because I was like 2. And
Aw.
your daughter is so cute. Please take pictures of her riding my bear. And my parents were like, oh my God, that'd be so cool.
You're like, fuck that.
No, it was a big fluffy thing. I was excited. So I rode a blacker at Castle Germany.
And you
That's
remember
my first
this?
memory. Mm-hmm.
You rode a fucking bear.
I rode a fucking bear.
You're Lyra Silvertongue. His Dark Materials. I don't know if you read that.
Mm-mm.
Well, there's a bear in there named Bjorn, and he's awesome. And he kicks some serious ass. And Lyra rides him occasionally. Because he's a good bear. Sad bear, but good bear.
Good bear.
But that's really cool. Me at 2 years old, it depends. If it's a docile bear just chilling, oh, cool, I'll ride him. He looks like a big fluffy thing. But the moment he starts growling, but get the fucking thing is going to eat me. Get me away. But no, my parents, no, they probably see that bear and bolt the other way. Both of my parents are scared of big dogs. That's why I was never able to own one as a kid. I grew
up around big dogs. I have all the reasons to be afraid of big dogs, but I'm not afraid of big dogs. I think they're sweet. They just need space.
So, well, I think both of them had bad experiences with big dogs when they were kids, and they followed that complex into our family. And I always when I was a kid, they had a Rottweiler, but I was like 2, and I barely remember them. But they got rid of them because my mom was scared of them, and always wanted them locked in the garage, even in the fucking winter in Chicago. So, got rid of them. But otherwise, it's been like the biggest dog we had was American Eskimo, and he was cute, but at the same time, like, you're no Great Dane, buddy. So, several alleged castles in Colorado. I wouldn't know these.
Yeah, American castles do, but they're newer.
I would love to go to a castle in Germany, just some OG Orlok shit.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, like, isn't like a million castles over there?
Yeah.
Ugh. I would say one day, but the way the world is, like, you really want to travel anywhere?
I like to travel.
Well, I mean, I've never gone international. I've always heard it's a pain in the ass. I can't imagine it being any easier now, if anything worse.
It is only a pain in the ass if you are trying to move stuff that isn't allowed.
I know
So
Canada.
if you're packing cannabis or something like that, they'll take your cannabis.
If you're trying to fly overseas with some weed on you, you're an idiot. I don't know. I mean,
Just buy
seriously,
it where you are. Like,
right? It's
you
like
can see it before you come home.
well, I was talking to my one friend in Cleveland, and he was like, "Make sure to when I was going to the concert out there, man, he's like, bring plenty of shit with you." I'm like, "I'm not getting on a train with a fucking house on me. Hook me up when I get out there. It's Cleveland. Come on, don't make me start walking down the street. I will find somebody."
Yeah.
As I puff my vape. But Canada, I know they're dicks about letting people in. You can't have a DUI on your record and get into Canada.
Ever.
Well, sorry,
Apparently,
you're a drunkard.
Dan Cummins had like the worst experience with Canada. He canceled a whole tour because Canada wouldn't let him in the country.
I mean, that's not very Canadian.
Well,
aren't they the ones always talking shit about us, like, and who we let in, and that, you can't have a DUI on your record and go in that country? A little hypocrisy there going, eh? I don't know about that. Sorry.
Can't be convicted of anything. DUI.
Bunch of stuck-up hosers. Sorry, not sorry. But I know Japan, they don't fuck around with people getting in there. Like, you got any kind of blotch on your record at all? Nope. You can buy our stuff. We'll ship our stuff to you, but you can't come here.
I am unaware of any restrictions on flying to Japan.
Well, without getting into too much savage detail, alcohol and running the streets as a young hoodlum has gotten me in a few run-ins with the law, and including a DUI. So no Canada. Oh well. I'll just enjoy my Cronenberg, Sausage Sisters, and Labatt Blue from the comfort of America. Well, I'm in Chicago anyway. It's like basically the fucking Miami of Canada.
Oh my God. Welcome to Japan. I'm gonna see. So apparently you have to declare everything you have. Cannot bring any drugs of any kind. You cannot bring weapons of any kind, or chemical weapons or germs.
What? I can't bring germs?
Or child pornography.
They really have to tell people this.
Goods which infringe on intellectual property, no knockoffs.
How can you not bring germs into a place? We're covered in germs.
In other words, wear a mask.
You got germs on your hands.
Yeah. That's why you wear gloves. Plants and animals must be presented to the plant or animal's quarantine officer for quarantine inspection prior to customs exam. No guns or swords or anything. No cosmetics.
Wow.
Oh, there's quantity restrictions. You can't bring over 20, like, tons and tons of makeup. You can't do that.
I've never been a makeup person or wore cosmetics, but if I were going to a place like that, wouldn't I just try to check out their cosmetics? Why would I bring my shit there?
No, I take my makeup.
Oh.
I take a little thing or a big thing, depending on where I am.
I do not. I used to let my one friend paint my nails back in the day. I think I did eyeliner once for Halloween as a joke. I was trying to be one of those emo kids. It was a sad night. Well, that's pretty stringent. But the rule, these rules exist, even though a lot of them are fucked up because somebody did something at some point for them to go through the trouble of creating these laws.
Yeah, but like you can't bring drugs into the country.
Caffeine's a drug.
I mean, like marijuana, ecstasy.
Yeah, I know.
Cocaine.
I know they're really strict about marijuana over there, or they were.
It depends over here. It's not illegal. Virginia is almost there.
Virginia, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're estimated summer for them to actually have it all situated so that we can drink it, so that we can smoke recreational.
But it's still going to be within a Uber-controlled environment, as in dispensaries.
Ideally, yeah.
Well, I mean, it might be different for Virginia, but Illinois, it's ridiculous here the way they have this shit set up. And it's so disorganized and just overtaxed, which everyone knew was going to happen. But such unnecessary bullshit that they don't need. Like, when they were trying to pass the law, like everyone was saying, copy Colorado. They're getting it done right. Mm-hmm. Nope, it's Illinois, and they want their fucking money somehow, and they're going to do it their own way through, kickbacks and the people who open certain areas of the city. It's fucking shithole. Anyways, I just need to move to a different state. End of rant.
Yes, you need to move to a different state.
And I need to stop trying my luck walking through bad neighborhoods at the middle of the night, like I did last night. I'm walking down Halsted and like 23rd Street, like right by like where they say the cast like where Shameless is supposed to be based at. If you're watching the show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's Showtime. But South Side white trash family and their depraved shenanigans.
Mm.
But I don't see them ever filming in this neighborhood. But I think that's supposed to be just where it's based at. It's right there on like the immediate South Side. I'm more of like the far South Side, by the hundreds, the wild hundreds. But anyways, yeah, I'm walking down there at fucking 11:30 at night down Halsted, fast. And it was a blizzard. Another blizzard, two nights in a row. I'm walking out of an event, meeting snow. When I walked in, there was nothing.
You're also a 6-foot dude who's like, what, 200 and something?
I'm 180. Or actually 190. I've been eating a lot recently.
I am like 5 foot even. I cannot, and I have boobs. I cannot walk through South Chicago or South DC by myself at night. I cannot.
And you wouldn't believe some of the women that just do that shit. And I tell them, like, just please bring, at least I have something stabby on you. That's all I ask.
Be able to like defend yourself. And you know what? Like, I was at my peak condition and I was battle ready all the time, and I was still jumped.
And
so all the skill in the world, all the knives that I had, all the flashlights that you could bash someone's brains out with, didn't fucking matter.
I don't remember. I don't know if this is true. I need to double check this. I don't know if it was like an alderman or like the attorney general in Chicago, like fucking 4 years ago. It was right. It was like right around the Jussie Smollett nonsense, but they're asking because they passed another ridiculous gun law here, which does nothing for the people who use them the most.
Right.
But
so it's all
they someone brought up like, what about a woman walking down the street in the middle of the night afraid to get raped? Well, what we advise them to do is to defecate themselves, so the attacker might get disgusted and run away.
that is ridiculous.
Yes.
There are dudes here that will not care.
I imagine so. If you are that keyed up to where you're gonna do that to somebody, I doubt that a little that's gonna really stop you, unless I don't know, maybe you have some kind of phobia to it. I just remember listening, I heard it on the radio, and just being nauseous, especially in such an uber progressive city. Like I would risk it if I were a woman here. Honestly, that's all I'm gonna say.
Right.
Kabloom.
So we are doing our best to change that context that women are in. And we are made fun of for it. Okay, see you later, Mama Ward.
Oh no. I'm glad I finally got this. Oh yeah, people listening out there, I am going through a new setup here. I'm no longer using that small rickety Acer 4 GB laptop that can barely play a video game on it. I am coming to you from my new freshly built desktop with 32 gig RAMs. Got a pretty dope graphics card in there as I delve into gaming for the first time. And now I'll be able to screen share, which I'm going to play with later on a different stream at some point, and just be able to be more conscious to you guys. And also try to learn how to do video editing at some point. That would be nice. But I think, with kind of tie it all up with that, and also with learning more of how occultism could work for me, I've been in the habit, as you know, of jumping out of my comfort zone any chance I get.
Nice.
Because the way I see it is, we all have our boundaries. We all have our limitations. But it doesn't mean they're always going to be like that. You can do something to advance them, to push them more. Start with working at your habits, getting healthier ones in there, picking up new ones. Even something new for the first time. Just try it. Even if you don't like it, try it again. Just, get out of your rigid way of thinking and acting. That's the only path to growth.
Yeah, I think growth can't happen if there is comfort.
Yeah, that doesn't mean relax at every occasion, but that's what I've been doing.
I do.
I relax like end of the night because I spent too much of my life and fucking just laying around neutralized, just in my head, thinking about where I want to be, daydreaming about it. Like, that's one thing. The imagination is humanity's greatest tool, and you can't stress enough being storytellers or an artist, whatever the fuck you do out there. But it can be such a deadly weapon if you let it. If you get too stuck in that imagination, dreaming about writing that book, dreaming about getting that promotion at your job, dreaming about that object of affection you want to hook up with, but never considering the proper steps to make that a reality. You'd rather just fantasize about it because it's fucking easier. It's better than doing any work towards the reality. And that's where it starts.
Is it?
You got, if you're stuck in a, rigid way of thinking, you got to break that first. Then you change your habits. And from there, you move.
So
I'm sure.
This goes into like you kind of touching on the 6 principles of chaos magic.
Well, as it is something I'm kind of slowly learning, trying to learn more about, and strengthening my interest, or especially since my ego death, or experiencing ego death, should I say? Because my ego's still there. It's just a little more in check. But yeah, everything I'm doing now, this new stuff, it's all tied into that. Getting away from the familiar bullshit, the stuff that doesn't fit anymore, or at least adjusting to a different fit. But that's what for me it was all about. Controlling what's in my life, the energy flow, who's there, what's that, that kind of thing, and realizing everything has emotion. People come into your life for a reason. There are certain roles everyone plays. Doesn't mean they can't change over time, but forcing it or wanting to be something it shouldn't be, stuff like that. Not just with people, with a position you're in, be the same thing.
How do you mean?
You can either accept something for what it is, or take the small necessary steps and either adjusting to it or trying to change it. Just don't go in there heavy-handed and think you're going to do anything other than make yourself miserable and walk the path of disappointment. And I think too many people do that and are realizing that maybe it doesn't matter. You're wasting your energy on this shit and move on. And yes, I'm kind of stoned and ranting.
Okay.
What were you saying?
About conditioning.
Yes.
Breaking down of preconceived notions and.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we do. We, just like ourselves, we die out and we regenerate.
That is one of the chaotic principles. Still watching. Hello.
Still eyeballs. As far as I know, we have eyeballs, Trinity. I guess he's probably over there getting stoned too. He's on that good SoCal shit. Getting baked before his bike ride. Oh yeah. Oh fuck. It's Comic Book Geeks. Meet my guy Trinity. He has his own channel. He does more like independent. Well, he's been gaming a lot recently, but indie comics, stuff like that. He reviews, rants about it. Which I need to get him.
Rant about my comic.
Yeah, I would recommend something to his channel. He's a really cool dude. I've known him for years. I think you two like each other.
Sweet.
And he'll probably ask you for a spell to grow his hair back at some point.
Oh, is he?
Nah.
Is it that he misses his hair?
He should. He looks great bald. He has like that Lex Luthor thing going. I'm enjoying it. And I need to get in my P.O. box. I'm setting that shit up today, Trinity. Don't worry. I guess I won something and you sending me a comic. I keep forgetting to do. I've been fucking busy. Really busy. 11-hour shifts all week and then trying to do all this, doing this Substack crap. I'm still trying to work on that England blog. And rescheduling the interview because my star had to go to Seattle for some absinthe event. And that was more important than interviewing for nothing. That's not for somebody who's not publishing it. So it's all good.
I see.
Like, no, you go do that shit. I will figure it out. But anyways, now that I'm done giving excuses, I will get that P.O. box set up today because people do want to send me stuff and I don't want my real mailbox flooded. I don't want people stalking me. Like they don't want to come through here. Yeah, if they come through this shit to get to my doorstep, then maybe they earn the right to stalk me. Like, hey, how's it going? Oh, I see you caught one in the leg. Let me get that for you.
Limited wish will get that hair back.
Oh, I keep telling him to stick his thumb in his mouth and just blow on it. Maybe it'll shoot out. Chia. I'm going to get a text from me saying, you're an asshole.
You're an asshole.
Oh, yeah. Do you like Black Label Society? The band?
Sure.
For me, like, they're cool. I like their music, but I never really got into them like some people. Some people love them. Get the fucking, the Doom Crew tattoos and shit like that. Mm-hmm. They have some good songs, but it kind of seems basic. Not in a bad, like so much in a bad way. It's not bad. It's basically like background music. If like it's not a killer track on, let that be the lull, like for the next great song. They're kind of like the jazz of metal, I guess you can say. I can have them in the background, but at the same time, I'm not going to rock them out in my car all day. But anyways, Zach Wild played. What the hell is the name of that song? It's a song about Dimebag Darrell.
Mm.
I will pull it up one second. I keep forgetting the name of it. No, not Black Keys. In This River. It's like a ballad. You know, he goes on there and plays piano and stuff like that. But they played that last night. And they had, you know, all the stuff in the background. Those pictures of Dime and Vinny and pictures of Zach and all them hanging out drinking together. I recorded some of it. I'll send it to you. But it was actually like really moving. It was one of those times like I was just like, you know, just bobbing my head along and I stopped. It was like, oh my God. And not to mention he's going to be filling in for Dime's position on this upcoming tour with Pantera. Charlie from Anthrax is drumming in place of Vinny, but he was out last night, I guess some surgery or whatever. He actually lives here in the western suburbs, probably like 30 miles. I think he's like Des Plaines or whatever. I met him at a bunch of horror conventions. Him and his, I think I don't know if they're fiance or married or whatever. She's one of the singers of Butcher Babies, also a cool person. I forgot her name and I feel like an asshole. Anyways, that happened last night, and I'll share it at some point because I still need to post more pictures of that. I posted all the Anthrax shit when I got home last night, and I still have a bunch of pictures of Black Label Society and then pictures of Exodus, and also pictures of their big ass mosh pit. Where was I going with that?
Sorry, let me share what I'm listening to.
What are you listening to?
I'm listening to 1 hour of dark clubbing music.
I love that stuff on YouTube, like the background. I use that when I'm writing, like the spaceship.
When I'm writing a lot, yeah.
I found one with it's like there's the Shire background, then there's one for like Rivendell.
Yeah,
you get like the elves in the background, like kind of like off in the distance. It's pretty cool. Recently, when I write, I've been listening to a lot of like industrial.
I'm listening to a lot of industrial lately, and lo-fi. Industrial and lo-fi.
Right. What's okay? Like lo-fi, what would be the difference?
It's softer.
Oh, so it's kind of like just more science fiction-y, I guess.
Some of it can be like Blade Runner and ambiance sort of stuff. Yeah, lo-fi.
Well, it's like Frontline Assembly. Well, some of their stuff's pretty hard, but they do have some like cyberpunk groove tracks. But I've been listening to like them, Skinny Puppy, My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, some Ministry.
Mm-hmm.
I met Al a couple times. I wouldn't say I dislike him, but you ever just get a vibe off somebody? It's like, how you doing, man? That kind of thing. Like, I don't know if maybe I just caught him in a bad time, but I don't know. He got a bad vibe with that dude. But otherwise, I like Ministry, and he's awesome in his talents. That's all I can say about him. Maybe next time I'll meet him and it'll be different. Now, Groovy Van for Thrill Kill Cult, that's always been a crazy motherfucker. These guys I should probably explain to people out there, Chicago was like ground zero for the industrial rock movement in the 80s in the U.S. It like came over here from like Germany and shit like that. And that's when you heard of a wonderful place called Wax Trax Records. I was going to say Weckers.
Yeah.
I need more caffeine. But
before you reach the 2 hour mark.
What's that?
It is quickly approaching the 2 hour mark.
It is.
And you said you wanted to end a little early.
It's not like I have a deadline or anything, so I'm not too worried. But I do want to kind of geek out a little bit. But Wax Trax, for anybody who doesn't know, it was started in Denver by two soulmates, Jim Nash and Danny Flesher. But yeah, they sold their store back in like the late 70s and came to Chicago, and they just brought like a lot of like new wave and like punk, post-punk, and this stuff called queer disco was really cool, by the way. And it kind of just started melding stuff together and just experimenting, and that's where you got like Thrill Kill Ministry. Then Front 242 came over from Europe, and then all of a sudden we got Frontline Assembly, and it pretty much started at this record store called Wax Trax. and then they expanded and got a recording studio on the back, started recording shit through there, and started a record label. I mean, eventually felt. I mean, it got big, and like Ministry got signed. They went, and a couple other bands, and it eventually folded. And then one of them died, Jim. But I know his daughter. He was formerly married before he got the other Dennis. But yeah, she still kind of runs stuff there, like through the website. So it's kind of still going, but the store's gone. It closed in like 2001. Whenever I'm in the Lincoln Park neighborhood, I'll walk by there and drop a flower. Anyways, Chicago and Detroit have collapsing buildings. Yes, I saw a few of those last night.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's
back to
dystopia. It is cyberpunk.
Yeah, that's the point I was getting at. I do dig that kind of like, that cyberpunk science fiction while I'm writing. It does get me up there.
It's not science fiction anymore. Like, it's science fact. I love it.
True. But I can never get into dubstep. What about you, dubstep?
It's lazy. I like dubstep that has texture and nuance and stuff to it. I don't like Skrillex. He's just like, grinding his knuckles off of the guitar strings, and that's about as good as he gets.
What did you think about that stuff you did with Korn? If you listen to it.
I didn't listen to it.
It's different. But the past couple albums, Korn went back to their more heavier sound, and it's actually been kind of good, and people have been sleeping on it. It ain't, Life is Peachy or their first album, but it's still heavy.
I have not listened to Korn diligently or anything. My stuff was rather underground.
Yeah. Well, when I was getting into metal back when I was a teenager, like they were just starting to come out, and I got into them, like, and they were different. That's one of the reasons why I liked them so much. Like, I'd go from listening to like Slayer and Sepultura, and then I put them on. It's like, this is weird. I like weird. It was at the time I was starting to get into like, Mr. Bungle and Primus and stuff. So it was kind of fitting together. And it's funny, quick digression, like this whole thing isn't one. I like Mr. Bungle, but I don't like Faith No More, if that makes any sense. I guess it's like a heavier
there is a different pitch. There is a different pitch to the male vocalist.
Well, it's Mike Patton.
So I can see it's not the same voice, though.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't hate Faith No More. They have a few good songs, but I just never. It was one of those bands like a lot of people love. I just couldn't get into them. But now,
is this
Mr.
like
Bungle.
a Tool versus Perfect Circle sort of situation?
Well, Tool's better. Even though I love Perfect Circle.
Perfect Circle has its moments.
Yeah. But Tool, they're Tool because they rule. But to come back on that, dubstep. The only dubstep album I ever enjoyed was some guy did Nintendo music and made an album out of it. Like, Castlevania, stuff like that. Like, he would do like the boss level and the beginning level and like dubstep the crap out, and it sounded really awesome. And that was the only time I ever enjoyed dubstep.
New Year's Eve is probably the last time I really enjoyed dubstep.
Kind of need a lot of caffeine for that.
I don't know if you need more caffeine or less caffeine.
You have a point there. I will cogitate that. So yeah, are we playing Borderlands 2 at some point? Did you decide?
Do you wanna?
Whatever game you feel like playing, I will install it. Just let me know what. All right. Another exception, Silver Ogre. That was a good soundtrack. I don't know if
Daft
that was
Punk isn't dubstep though.
that's more techno.
Electronica maybe.
They do that one song I like. It's an instrumental. It's like wow, 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 wow. That's like the soundtrack of my '90s right there. But I know they also no, that's Crystal. Like the Spawn soundtrack, they were on that one. If you're listening to that,
No.
that was a combination of like metal and techno. It's like 1997 for the Spawn movie. Was it Crystal Method and
Techno
Filter?
or electronica?
Well, I think more techno because it was the opening track was "Can't You Trip Like I Do." That was Filter and Crystal Method. Then there was Metallica. Well, it was DJ Spooky remixing Metallica's "For Whom the Bell Tolls." And I think Daft Punk did a song with Korn on there, and there's a couple other ones.
Okay.
I mean, it's a cool soundtrack, but yeah. I've heard some of the Tron Legacy one. That's pretty cool too. But yeah, like you said, that's not dubstep. Oh yeah, Prodigy's also on that Spawn soundtrack, but I can't remember which band they were with. That was actually my like real introduction to like techno electronic music back in the day. It was like even before the Wax Trax stuff. I had a copy of Prodigy's Fat to the Land, like I think most people of our generation did. That was like one of those things you ever notice. Like, I think everyone had that. A Black Album. Everyone had a copy of the Black Album. Or
everyone could play like any version of Nothing Else Matters.
It's all open string.
It's open string, but it's not like you have to like put your hands on the fretboard. Like it's not just open string. Open.
Yeah, I tried to show my brother and my best friend a couple of songs of guitar, and that was like the first one I showed them. That or like the opening notes on Enter Sandman, like the easiest in the world. The Interstellar 555 album. I might have to look that up.
Oh, it's so good. Get it on the video. Like the movie that is Interstellar 555 is amazing. It is so good.
I am Googling it now. If I didn't have crappy keyboards,
it's so
crappy
hard
phone.
to find. It's so hard to find.
Harder
and
than.
I am going to refill my drink. I'll be right back.
I'll be right here. Well, Wikipedia, Interstellar 5555, the story of the secret star system. I love tongue twisters. And I love it when people put different things instead of letters. Instead of the S's in this, there's fives. Quirky. I like quirky. Let's see. It is a 2003 animated musical science fiction film. Visual companion to Discovery, the second studio album by Daft Punk. Oh, that's cool. Oh, nice. Let me see if I can find it anywhere. Yeah, there's no like streaming services that are picking it up. You know, there's Amazon. Well, YouTube has Interstellar 555 video daily motion. It's an hour and 5 minutes long. Let's see how long the movie is again. 65 minutes. Good enough. I'll YouTube it. And yes, Silver Ogre, I just came to that conclusion before seeing this. All right. I know what I'm watching later. So should I watch? You don't think I should listen to it? Because I do have to take a long train ride later on. Or think I should just like watch the video?
If you find it on YouTube, then I would say watch it while you're on the train. How long is your train ride?
About an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending on the
Yeah,
layover.
You can probably watch the entire.
Yeah, I found it on
Interstellar.
YouTube.
It's cool.
That's where I found Legend of the Overfiend. That movie. It's like, I want to recommend it to my edgelord friends. At the same time, it's ridiculous. It's one of those movies.
Your edgelord friends. Is that what you just said?
I'm sorry, my edgelord and edge lady friends.
Hilarious.
Well, I mean, it was a lady that got me introduced to a lot of extreme horror films that I wouldn't have known of, like Martyrs and stuff like that. So
Sure.
I know, like, people like the front that, horror should be like a boys' club, which is sort of bullshit. You see a lot of that.
There are comics and horror both are kind of like that. There's a lot of horror with female leads, but very rarely is the female lead like taken seriously.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good band.
My friend Kate, if y'all are ever in the Chicagoland area and you want to check out some cool duds, especially if you're like, in the goth industrial scene, go to Outskirts Vintage over in the Ravenswood area. That's where you'll find some badass stuff made by the hands of a badass lady.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Hi. But yeah, you're right. I mean, like anything, it's all on who has a preference towards it. And like with horror and comics, yeah, maybe more boys like it, but I just don't want anyone to like. I don't like gatekeeping and that shit, and I don't want them to feel like they're gonna be gatekept, because there's a lot of times where even if you don't feel like even if you're not being left out, you'll have that in your head and make you not want to do it. That's the worst of all. So like maybe like change the impression people get of certain environments, because if some things come off unapproachable with horror, I never understood, because that's probably the most welcoming environment I've ever been around. Just walk into any convention, you can talk to anybody. No one's gonna be, well, with the exception of you.
You can talk to anybody. I cannot talk to everybody.
Yeah, true that. I mean, it doesn't mean I want to, or I'm gonna like how they react when I talk to them. But I could, just because I'm shameless, I guess. Like, hey, how's it going?
Well,
Like-
sure, because you are, cis white male.
I think it's because my environment also is just growing up with a crazy, loud, be yourself, and anyone has a problem, come step up, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't go show my ass in public. It's more of like, maybe I just feel like a weirdo, and I want to show people that I'm not a weirdo by being friendly and being open.
When I was assaulted, I was wearing BDUs and an oversized T-shirt.
Yeah. I have been told that I come off as unapproachable, I guess, and maybe that's my way of compensating
Me
for
too.
it.
Me too.
At my size, and I just have that look when I'm just like off thinking in my head. Maybe I brood.
Mm-hmm.
I have the brood face. And even if I'm just like sitting there chilling, people are like, man, yeah, you seem like you have an attitude problem. I'm like, what? I was thinking of a story I'm working on. Like my coworkers mention it a lot. Like, I guess I'll be sitting there writing, you just maybe have a scowl look. Like, that's what I'm thinking about. I guess that's what me justifying my gregarious manner. And also, if they have a problem and they want to do something, either fight them, win or lose. Hopefully, they don't pull out a weapon. If we want to get real about things. And you're very much welcome, Fraulein. So what are you doing with the rest of your day?
I have therapy.
I've got letters still in the mailbox.
Therapy. And
Yeah,
and then
therapy in half an hour.
I'm thinking of sometime soon doing a watch along. Would anybody out there in the chat feel like watching a horror movie at some point, maybe on like Discord? I've been wanting to do that for a while now.
Sure. Do you want to host it on your server, or do you want to try and host it online?
I'm gonna build one of my own. I'm gonna have like a private server, then maybe at some point do like an author server if I ever get a following. But at the same time, I've been seeing a lot of people gravitating towards Gilded. Seems to have more accessories. I don't know.
Watch parties are fun! Yay!
They are, but it also depends on who you have there. Do you have chatty people?
And who you're streaming from. Hulu now has an anti-streaming codec.
Can't break it with VPN?
Which super sucks.
Well, I know YouTube's kind of finicky about that. Of course, ad-free, which I wish Tubi would do a service where you can sign up and get ad-free, because Tubi has like the best selection, like horror, anime. Like they have the entire Mystery Science Theater 3000 collection, even the Riff Track stuff. Well, not all the Riff Tracks. They don't have a lot of the new stuff. But yeah, I'd say like Tubi and Crunchyroll are like the only places I go. I have Hulu and like Paramount Plus, and like occasionally I'll throw them on. I wonder if Crunchyroll has something like that set up. I know there are a few movies on there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you think they have like an
Crunchyroll is all anime though.
I know. Well, I mean, like they have a couple of full-length movies on there. I think I saw Perfect Blue on there, if I'm not mistaken. That was a good-ass movie.
Or any other Satoshi. I don't know.
Well, I was almost 250 at one point. Oh my god! I'm at the show last night. There was this guy there. It was about 6'6", 6'7", and he had to be near the front. I'm like, dude, you're an asshole. Like, you know, like you're blocking out one of the band members playing. Get your tall ass in the back. I'm not trying to shame you here, but you know, like I would watch people behind me whenever I'm at a show. If I have a lot of people behind me shorter than me, I move. Because I know they can't see shit other than back my big ass head.
Yeah.
And people don't think of that. And like I remember like a couple of times I was like in front of these people and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, you're good. We're just listening. Okay. But some people don't think about that. It's all about themselves and their own gratifications. But anyways, I'm going to head up to the city for a little bit, set up that P.O. box, hang out with a friend,
Right on.
and
Yeah.
what the fuck up. What am I going to do tonight? Ugh.
Hang out with a friend?
Well, after that, when I come home, I do want to.
No.
I need to get on this damn computer. I'm either going to write, I'm going to do something on my blog,
Okay.
or play a game. Well, the thing about this
it's cheaper, yeah.
Oh shit, this place. It's called Radius. It's right outside the Chinatown neighborhood, you know, the immediate south side. I've never been here before. I don't know how old it is. It's fairly new. I've been all the old places, you know, House of Blues, Metro, Riv, fucking Aragon Brawl Room. But I've been kind of wary about like the indoor venues in Chicago these days because they put in these weird laws for like an indoor policy. You can't walk outside after you come in. Excuse me. You cannot walk outside after you come in, not even have a cigarette, not to go to your car, not to go eat, not to vape, not to smoke a bowl, nothing. You got to purchase a new ticket if you want to go back in. Yes, that's what I did. Like I went to see Front 242 at Cold Waves, this big goth fest. All my friends were there. I go to walk outside, like, no, you gotta buy a new ticket. I'm like, all right, well, fuck you guys. I go back into the crowd, and I'm sitting there just puffing my vape the whole time. I'm like, I want one person to kick me out of here. Just put a hand on my shoulder. And I went to see, I wouldn't say Sepultura, but it was the founding members, the brothers, including the singer. So whatever, Sepultura at the Concord Music Hall. Same shit. Can't go outside. In both occasions, I decided to fucking not eat before going in there. My mistake. Of course, you go in there, and any of these, music venues don't have good food. It's all about drinking. Maybe they'll have some roller rink microwave pizza to throw at you, which you got to be drunk as hell to eat anyway.
Right.
But I'm already kind of wary about going to Chicago events, indoors at least. So I'm going to this place last night. I walked by there, and the doors haven't even opened yet. People are lined upside. I'm like puffing my vape, walking on the line, looking for a staff member to ask them about this indoor policy because I want to make sure that I'm all ready for walking in there. Can't find anybody. Whatever, I'm hungry. I go walk a few blocks into Chinatown, stop at that 3 Happiness place. Good as hell, by the way. I got it was just like the spicy chicken curry soup and a fried duck. But anyways, cool, straight up real place. So I'm the only one in there, but they're rushing me out like they had 1 million people. Rude as hell. I loved it. That's a real Chicago restaurant. A real yeah. Anyways, that's the lifestyle here. If like the ruder the place, the better the food. But leave there. I go walking back, and still can't find a staff member. But whatever, I ate. And if they want to give me, they want to be dicks about it, I vape, so I don't have to worry about smoking a cigarette. I walk in there, everything all the time, and I finally catch somebody. Yeah, they have a smoking section in the back. They have no problem with people walking outside. I walk in there, and there's this big-ass, huge, almost like a warehouse. It kind of was like the old days of, raving or, when underground bands would just, hijack an abandoned building. It had that look to it with these glowing blue lights. It was like a dark aesthetic with the glowing blue lights, almost like out of fucking Battlestar Galactica.
Nice.
Just the way the hallways were all lit up and just a perpetual dim.
Mm-hmm.
Nice sounds, great PA system. Anyways, that's my review of the Radius in Chicago. That place rules. I'll be going back there.
Nice.
And not the Riviera and not the fucking Concord. Oh, wait, no, I got to go to the Concord because my friends' bands are playing there in May. Either May or March. Either way, fuck, I'll eat before I go there, obviously. And I was going somewhere with this again. Whatever.
You're like, I got on a tangent and I don't remember what I was talking about.
I think, I was pretty much taking the time to do a plug for the Radius and bitching about these new laws in Chicago where you can't walk. It's like a noise law, I guess. That's the way they coded it. Where you can't walk outside because they don't want people talking. It's like you're in the middle of downtown. You got trains, cars, and guns going off. Ugh. Overcorrections.
I like Prague Power because they do the hand stamping. So I can drink my drink and then go smoke a cigarette. They stamp my hand and I'm like, I'm coming back. And
I remember when we can smoke in these places. You can smoke whatever you want.
I remember that too. However, I am kind of not mad at the smoking being relegated to outside thing.
I am cool with that too, and it makes the place smell a lot better, including restaurants and bars. Well, bars just smells like stale booze. But it was just so cool, I remember my 14th birthday going to see Stabbing Westward. Just smoking a joint, watching them in the crowd. Just yeah. No, not anymore. I gotta go. Well, actually, now I can with a vape, which I did last night. All through Black Label Society. I'm like, I'm not moshing or these guys. I'm just gonna chill. But yeah, I'm doing. Oh fuck. I'm gonna build a server. We're gonna do a poll on a movie.
Okay.
At some point, I'll get more people. I don't want to do a big one.
Do you have Shudder?
I do.
Cool.
I've been going and watching a lot of the old Joe Bob Briggs Last Drive-In.
Nice.
Have you caught any of that?
Yeah.
I used to watch Monster Vision all the time on TNT back in the day when he was on there. And I love now they show uncensored movies. I remember watching The Exorcist on there back in the day and just thinking it's cut out 10 minutes of the fucking movie.
I love your audience. Your audience is hilarious.
And they're from 2 different sections of my life, too. Goth scene and from Eric July's community. All cool peeps, and that's why we're here to talk about cool stuff. Fuck all that divisive crap. We have more in common than we don't. Have more in common than we don't. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
I can speak sometimes and do the words. That's why I don't do audio. Now you're seeing the cracks in my armor in this buttery voice, as Adrian calls it.
A buttery voice.
It just
Yeah.
melts all over your bagel voice, your bagel ears, your ear bagels. It melts all
My
over your
ear bagels.
Now let's put some cream cheese on there. Oh my.
I'm an old goth too, Silvar.
Let me see your record collection, Silver Ogre, before you make such claims.
Psycho. Psycho's going on the list, apparently.
So played out though. It's a great movie. I kind of like when it comes to Hitchcock. It's my favorite director. The Man Who Knew Too Much. Both versions. You have the original, and you have the one with Jimmy Stewart and what was it, Grace Kelly?
Mhm.
Was it Grace Kelly or Doris Day? One of those. She did the K Sarah, yeah. That was one thing I was kind of reminded of in that movie Infinity Pool last night, because the one thing Hitchcock was great for is just his fucking sets, the tone of his story, like where you're watching it, and that's what it was an intense, crazy story, and just amazing lighting, settings, cinematography was amazing. Then the acting, just not so much the writing.
What did you give to your daughter?
Record collection.
Everything
It's
is
okay.
on-
You passed it on. That is permissible. But
My mom just threw this stuff out, which is weird. Like, she was like, "Where are all the records?" Like 15 years later, and I was like, "Mom."
and even speaking of like things that can be a little overwhelming, not just getting into anime, not again just getting into magic or gaming, trying to say like what's goth music or not, because in high school I didn't really know the real deal Holyfields until I was like late teens. Before that, like goth to me was Marilyn Manson, Nine Inch Nails, stuff like that. And of course I got into the real, it depends where you want to go. Do you want to go post-punk, with Susie the Banshees, Sisters of Mercy, The Cure? Maybe you want to go dark wave?
What year was it?
Which one?
What year was it that you were listening to Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson?
This was like 1998, 97.
That's so cute.
Yeah. I don't want to say baby bat. But actually, to bring the story around like a good concept, the witch I dated is the one that introduced me to goth music.
Mm-hmm.
Started with actually through wax tracks and all that shit. Yes. The industrial, of course, and of course there was Switchblade Symphony, Kill Hannah. Remember that one? She played that a lot. London After Midnight.
Nice.
Shit like that, and that kind of got me into it.
Ooh.
Peter Murphy, huh?
Separately.
That would have been kind of. I would love to have seen Robert Smith from The Cure when he was in Susie and the Banshees, like during the Juju days and Kaleidoscope. I love that album. Susie Sue. That's one band I would love to have seen. I don't know if they're still doing stuff. Bauhaus was supposed to play Riot Fest last year when I went to see the Misfits that Saturday. They were supposed to go on before Misfits. But, yeah. Relapse from a certain singer who just, he has to keep chasing that dragon. Oh, well. It happens. We fall. We get back up. But I'm still...
I have my thing like really soon.
Oh shit! It's past 2 hours. My bad. Do you want to plug anything before we go?
Howdy neighbors. I'm Sako Toomey, also known as Casboy. I write horror, and I'm a witch, and I'm a graphic designer. And sometimes I combine those three things. You should drop by sometime. I would love to see you.
Well, this is R.C. Scott. I'm an indie horror writer, and I like to learn new things, talk to new people, and try out new shit. You can find me on all social media, just not TikTok ever. You can find me on here. I'm starting to do more streaming. I'm gonna be doing more gaming stuff when I finally get off my ass about that and pull that trigger. And that'll probably lead me into doing Twitch streams where you can watch me fail and lose my shit live at some point. Otherwise, I got stuff going on, blogs. I'm writing a story. I actually got a novella coming out in the next couple of days called Skin Auction. I need to start plugging a little bit more of. It's a really horrible story, and I won't blame you for wanting to sit it out. But if you do want to read it, be prepared for a horrible scene. All right. Well, let's end this out. Y'all be easy. Stay hydrated. Have a good Sunday or Monday. Fuck you.
Monday.
Laters.